Greetings to all of humanity. It's a joy, it's a pleasure, it's an honor as usual to be out here in nature and always greeting you, bringing this message of self-realization to you, whereby I'm pointing you to look inwardly to discover your identity, to be your divinity. Now, with that being said, I want to speak to you concerning Adam and Eve, atom and electron. Okay, now before I go any deeper into what I want to speak to you about, I want to first let you know the basis of my teachings, okay, especially if you're listening to me for the very first time. Now, the basis of my teaching is that the Bible addresses the human mind and must be interpreted psychologically. That the Bible, it is not literal, neither is the Bible secular history, for it was written symbolically, and it have no reference to anyone who existed thousands of years ago or to any actual event that took place on earth thousands of years ago. It all addresses the human psyche. So from Genesis 1 to Revelation 22, it's all a great psychological drama. So the Bible is actually a book of a mind science. So as long as you understand that the Bible is a book of mind science and must be understood psychologically, then you'll understand when I speak just a little bit about physics and chemistry by showing you that first of all, when you read in Genesis, it is basically teaching you of the mind. Okay, that everything begins in the mind, and that the Garden of Eden is actually your mind. Okay, now Adam and Eve, they are not two literal persons. Okay, we were taught to believe in secular Christianity. We were taught to believe in a God in the sky. We were taught to believe in a God outside of ourselves. But if you read Ecclesiastes 3 and 11, you will realize that everything is downloaded in you. Okay, everything exists in the human imagination. So everything that you will ever say to me is based on your perception. Okay, now the world that you're beholding, it's an outer projection of that which is within. So when you understand the law of correspondence, that as above, so below, as it is within, so is it without, then you understand that you're not living in a vast world and it's just little you. No. The world that you behold is your own self pushed out, and you're beholding that outer projection. So the sun is within, the moon is within, the stars is within, the clouds, they're all within. You cannot even close your eyes and see everything that I'm speaking about. Okay? And so when you read of Adam and Eve, if you do not know that you are, the wind is blowing very heavy. Okay, I'm just waiting for the wind to ease down a little so that I can continue speaking to you, that you can hear me clearly. I hope even as I'm speaking right now that you are hearing me clearly also. Now, yeah, as I was speaking about Adam and Eve, we were told that Adam and Eve was two literal people, and they were the first people. Now, if that was true, you have to say what was their surname, because it is said that they were married, and we live in a time where when everybody, whoever get married, they have to have a surname and carry the surname of the husband. Also, you will have to say also where Cain and Abel, which is said to be their sons, where they really get their wives from, who they married to. Okay, so there's a lot of things that you have to explain that wouldn't be logical. Okay, you'll be just contradicting yourself. But when you understand that you're an electrical and magnetic being, and what I'm saying here, it cannot be known intellectually. It must be by your experience. Okay, So everything I'm saying to you is based on what I would have experienced. So if you do not realize that everything is energy, vibration, and frequency, and that you are an electrical being and a magnetic being also, and your thoughts, each and every one of your thoughts, they are vibrational frequency. If you do not understand that by experience, it's very hard for you to understand what I'm saying. Okay, because there are other people who can say exactly what I am saying here to you. But I'm telling you that I'm saying it from experience. I've had experience upon experience upon experience. Okay, that's how I know that time is not real, all these things. Many things that people teach on the internet, I have no knowledge about them when it comes to the book. But based on experience, I can tell you, yes, that is exactly true. When people speak about the electrical spectrum and so on, and when they speak about vibration, and when they speak about the other things, okay, that they speak about in the scientific terms, like when they talk about the different brain waves and all of these things, okay, I can only speak from experience. So yes, an atom and an electron, okay, it is all dealing with your electrical self. There is a atom, also there is a proton, a neuron, and an electron. And all of that have to do with your electrical self. All of that have to do with carbon. All of that have to do with energy. I do not have to go into all of the scientific explanation. I've never studied chemistry. I've never studied physics. Okay? So when you read of Adam and Eve, you're reading of the outer man and the inner man, and the outer man is connected to the inner man. You're reading of your physical self and your spiritual self, your mortal self and your immortal self. Okay, so basically this body is the expression of the soul, and the soul is the invisible body, and they are to work in union, because marriage is union, so it's an invisible union. Also, God is your imagination, which is the creator in everyone. For everything that was ever made, it was first a thought, it was first an idea, it was first imagined. And you're told in St. John 1 and 3, which St. John is the same Genesis, all things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. Now, when they taught you secular Christianity, they taught you to believe that that him is a man 2,000 years ago. But that him is just a personification of your own human imagination. Okay? So, when it says that Adam was married to Eve and that Eve came out of Adam. Now, out of you comes electrical frequencies that we refer to as thoughts. And your thoughts can either uplift you or it can bring you down. Your thoughts can either be creative or destructive. So you can either bring forth Cain or Abel. In other words, you have a lower self and a higher self. The lower self of you is where you dwell just only in the five senses, in the physical realm, where you exist in the physical realm. And the higher self is where you go beyond the physical realm. where you exist in the sixth sense. Okay? So my brother and my sisters, one thing that they didn't want you to know about yourself is that you are an electrical being, that you are a spirit having a human experience, that they didn't want you to know that you are eternal. They didn't want you to know that death is not real. They didn't want you to know that the Bible is all about the human physiology. It's all about your body. It's all about you. It is your spiritual autobiography that must be interpreted psychologically. So, my brother and my sisters, the next time you read of the Adam and Eve story, I want you to be mindful of an atom and an electron. So basically, when you have a thought, your thought is without form and it is void, which means to say that you can feel it, you can touch it, you can taste it, you can handle it by the five senses. And a word is a thought expressed. Therefore, it says that the word became flesh and we handle him. It is when you work upon your thoughts, that which you believe, when you have an idea, when you have a goal, when you have a dream, and then it is fulfilled, it becomes a hard and objective fact. And now you can contact it by the five senses. So let me just run over for you what I was really saying in a nutshell. When it says that Adam and Eve bring forth Cain and Abel, it is teaching you that inside of you is masculine and feminine energy, yet it is one energy, and it's your outer self and your inner self, and you gonna bring forth thoughts that are fruitful and thoughts that is unfruitful, thoughts that is destructive and thoughts that is creative, thoughts that are gonna display qualities of love, and thoughts that are gonna display qualities of fear. So they can be either fear, the energy of fear, or the energy of love. So that's what the whole story is really all about. And that is what I really want to get across to you by teaching you that at all times you have to realize that the Bible is not a religious book. It's all about you. And the Adam and Eve story is not a literal story. It's a story that is pointing you to look inwardly to discover that your true identity is your divinity. So everything starts in Genesis, which means everything starts within you. It is teaching you from the invisible to the visible. It is teaching you from eternity into time, because time is not real, which is illusion. So that which is real, okay, enter that which is not real, which is an illusion. So this whole world that we are seeing here is an illusionary world. That is why when you go to bed to sleep, where is the world? It disappears. Everything disappears. Because you think that it is solid. It's not solid. You have to have an outer body experience to really know what I'm speaking about when I say that this world is not solid, because you would think that the rocks, that they're solid. You would think that the trees, that they are solid. You would think even this body, that it is solid. But when you have experience like what I would have experienced and exit my skull and became invisible and became one with the wind, then you would realize what I am speaking about. Then you would realize that nothing is solid. Then you would realize that you are just a spirit and you're having a human experience. So my brothers and my sisters, what I want to encourage you to do is to read the Bible with the right understanding of what it is speaking about. And if you should take anything away from this video, what I want you to take away from this lesson is that the Bible is your spiritual autobiography. Therefore, my encouragement to you is to always look inwardly to discover that your identity is your divinity. So with that being said, my brother, my sister, I want to say, if this is the very first time you're listening to me and what I'm saying, if it's making sense to you and it's helping you in any way, then it is for you. Also, if this is the first time and you haven't subscribed already, I'm encouraging you to subscribe, to like, to share, and to comment if this video has been very helpful to you. And to always remember that this message I bring to you is the singular eye message of self-realization, of which Matthew 6:22 says that if your eye be single, your whole body will be full of light. That's why I always give you the symbol of the single eye, saying to you, it is not a symbol of some evil eye, but it is the symbol of the all-seeing eye of God that is within you, who is your own human imagination. Therefore, you would experience an awakened imagination when you awake within yourself. Like a fiery being, you would hear the unearthly wind as you ascend up on high, and you would exit your skull and become invisible. Then you would understand when it is said that the Lord awake as out of a great sleep in Psalm 78:65. And you will also understand when it is said that you shall change from immortal to immortality in a twinkling of an eye. That twinkling of an eye is an awakening, or the opening of an eye, where you would awake from the dream of life to come to understand that everything that you see or you behold, it's all an illusion. Therefore, my brothers and my sisters, when you come to think more deeply, you come to realize that the sun parallels the human imagination, and the human imagination parallels the sun. For without the sun, there is no life and there is no light. And without the human imagination, there isn't anything made that was made. Also, you come to realize that the sun is the giver of all life. And in Psalm 84:11, it is said that the Lord thy God is a sun, as in a S-U-N, and a shield, and no good thing will he withhold from you. And the sun has never withhold any good thing from you, for the sun is what powers all of humanity. Also in Malachi 4:2, you would read where it says, the sun, as in the S-U-N, of righteousness shall arise in you with healing in his wings. Therefore, I'm bringing healing to you by encouraging you to use your mind power, which is your solar power, your sun power, your creative power, your God power, to achieve your every desire. So with that being said, I want to say peace, love you all, I'm out.